welcome to the stage, Candace Rosado.
What up, mother? All right. I know what you may be thinking. Who is she? I'm Candace. They said that already. But you're welcome. Okay? This is William. You're like, what? What is that? That's sick. Right? He is. Now, people usually say, you know, you can't buy friendship. That's a lie. Because I bought him for $1. Okay? So, yeah, I got William at a thrift store in California. Whoa. California. Someone's cultured. I know I am. I'm a little spicy quesadilla. That's what I am. So if you see me after this, call me a spicy quesadilla. I like it. Actually, don't. That's weird. So, yeah, let me get a little bit louder so you guys can hear what I'm saying. William here, he's my home dog. I travel everywhere with him. I take him places. He's my only friend. So we're done with that right now. Okay? Yeah, just clap. I just want you to clap. Why not? Yeah. Let's go for it. So, yeah, I'm new to Boston. Okay? I'm from California, so assume I'm from Hollywood, please. I mean, my looks, I look like Shania Twain. So obviously I'm from Hollywood. 90210, that's Beverly Hills. Fuck, that's different. Yeah, new to Boston, new to living in the city, also new to living above crack utilizers. I don't want to say crack like the H word. Crackheads. Because it's rude, okay? You don't want to be called that. They might have a past. They might have done a lot of cool stuff. What if they went here? And you're just like, crackhead, what you No. So I deal with crack utilizers on a daily. So I'm walking to class. You know what, you guys probably can't even, let me move this dude right here. We're gonna do that. So awkward. Let's go. So I'm walking to class, like, yes. I was really happy that day, apparently. So just, you know. And I'm at the corner of the street, and this woman comes up to me, and I'm like, this is gonna be fun. I'm excited for this. And she stops, and she looks me in the soul. Okay? You don't know fear. Okay, she looks at me, and I'm standing there, minding my own business, and she says, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you have any food?" To be honest, I thought she was telling a fat joke, so I was pretty pissed, because I think I'm voluptuous, and this crack woman utilizer man person is just dissing me on the street. So I politely said, "Nope, gotta go." And I left. After class, I was like, I need some food, some nourishment, okay? You guys always think that, like, when you're hungry, I need some nourishment in my body. That's your stomach talking. I'm gonna put him down. So I went to go get some food, and I get the food, I got the bag, I'm all like pumped to go, ready, and I get to my street, and who do I see? My BFF. The crack woman lady utilizer. And she's standing there and she looks at my food and I'm like, this is it. And she says, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you have food?" And I politely looked at her and I said, "Nope, gotta go." That's my story, clap. You guys are good clappers. Wow, it's like a skill. Hope you guys put that on your resume. I can clap. Awesome, right? That's on mine. I have no job, so that's hello. So another thing about Boston, I'm in an apartment now. I'm a grown-up. I know I look like I'm 46. But it's new for me, okay? And we had to get cable installed in our apartment. That's a show in itself, guys. So we had this man. I'm not gonna say his name. His name was Gary. He showed up, and first thing he said when he opened the door, not "Hello, how are you? I'm the cable man." No, it was, "If I get a parking ticket, it's on you and you're paying for it." And I was like, well, what's his name? I gotta know who I gotta write this check out to, apparently. And he comes in the apartment screaming. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Are you the Wi-Fi guy? He goes, yeah, I'm here to put in your Wi-Fi. This then turned into a 2-hour conversation of him talking about his love life from the cable man. I don't care. I didn't care about it. He then proceeded to tell me and my roommates, God bless him, that his girlfriend cries when they have sex. Our Wi-Fi still doesn't work. Yeah, that's a true story, guys. I'm like struggling trying to type a paper, and I'm like banking on like half a G. Laugh. Thank you. There we go. It's beautiful. Yeah, and so when I'm not in the Boston area, I'm usually in California. Sometimes I'm in New York. I'm a nomad. Okay, so you'll just see me with a backpack hiking. I don't hike. If you hike, that's disgusting. Don't do that. You sweat, there's rocks, dirt. Who the signs up for that? I don't, and I won't. I refuse. And you're like, oh, well, she's talking about exercise. Well, maybe she needs some. Does anyone need it? Let's really think about that. Now I'm getting off topic. Who's happy? Not me. Yeah, so when I'm not in Boston, you sometimes spend time in New York with my family, my grandma, dad, cousins, everyone who is in there. And I was recently working at a Dunkin' Donuts. I know, look at me go. Dunkin' Donuts working woman, okay? And it was the first day of training, and my trainer, his name was Dominic, okay? And now you hear Dominic and you're like, Dominic the donkey. Like Christmas. No one else got that? Thank you for laughing and moral support, sir. I appreciate you. You're a wonderful man. So Dominic, my trainer, was like, hey, what's going on? My name is Dominic. You're going to be working the drive-thru today. Excuse me? I'm going to be working the who? And every time he would give me an example of what he was going to do at this drive-thru, he would go on the speaker and say, "Hey, what's going on? You got the pleasure of speaking with Dominic. What can I get for you today? A medium mocha iced chai with 4 ice cubes?" Dominic is 35 years old and works at Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm here. Again, I'm Candace Rosado. Thank you guys so much.
Give it up for your next comedian, Jordan Wool.
I wrote that song. Before we get started, can I get a volunteer? Great, thank you. Stay there. Thanks. Wow, I can't believe I'm here hosting Saturday Night Live for the first time. Long overdue, but beggars can't be choosers. I met Lorne backstage. He said, "Hi, Jordan." I said, "Hi, Lorne." And then he kissed me on the cheek. That was how I met Lorne Michaels. When I'm not hosting Saturday Night Live, I work as a shoe shine, which means I'm paid $11 an hour to be irrelevant to the world around me. And it's a fun job. I basically show up and sit there and do whatever I want. It's also a good job if you enjoy networking, especially with my elderly boss, Cedric. One thing about being a shoe shine is that you have to sort of adjust to a different life schedule, because when you're a shoe shine, you need to catch the businessmen before they get into their office for the day, so you need to get up really early. So I've had to start getting up earlier. I, have my cup of coffee, read the paper, and I watch some TV through the antenna that I have. And I've started watching this really weird television channel, specifically this show that I'm sure none of you have heard of. It's like this weird throwback to old sitcoms from the 50s, stylistically shot in black and white, but it's also like another one of those comedians playing themselves shows, like it could be on FX or something. It's called I Love Lucy, and you guys have got to check this show out. It stars this woman, Lucille Ball, and her husband, who in real life is named Desi Arnaz, but in the show, he's named Ricky. So if that's confusing for anyone, Lucy is Lucy in real life and on the show. But then Desi is Desi in real life, Ricky on the show. Everyone got that? Great, okay. It's actually a really progressive show in the sense that I've never seen a sitcom in which the married couple actually has no love whatsoever for each other. Lucy's always berating Ricky, and Ricky's always yelling at or threatening Lucy, and yet, at the end of the episode, they're still stuck there. In one episode I watched recently, Lucy had recently had a baby, and she wanted a bigger home for the family, and Ricky said no, and that was the end of it, and then he left. So Lucy thought, I know what I'll do. I will put everything we own into the living room, so Ricky thinks our house is smaller. And it didn't work, surprisingly. But we got a lot of good physical comedy out of it, some pratfalls. Lucy went down a slide. So one thing I suggest, look up Lucille Ball. I bet she's got a great Twitter. I hope she gets some Golden Globe noms. Incredible stuff. I also want to pause for a moment to make sure we all acknowledge and appreciate the team at Pixar who made Cars 3 this past summer. Wow. They came off a critical and box office slump that started with Cars 2 and went all the way through The Good Dinosaur. And they told a beautiful, emotionally resonant story about Lightning McQueen and his funny friend Mater. And I've heard some members of the Pixar team are here tonight. Okay, I guess not. Which means I take back everything I said about Cars 3. I was really just angling for the role of Rob, the sarcastic taxi in Cars 4. But if they're not here, I guess I'll go through the traditional means of auditioning. Now that we've talked about Cars 3, I think we need to move into cancer, don't you? So, my father a couple of years ago was diagnosed with a very serious and rare form of cancer that affects the larynx, which is your voice box. And they had to take out his larynx, which meant he was no longer able to speak normally. They had to put in what's called an electrolarynx, which means he now speaks by holding a device up to his neck, and he speaks with a sort of robotic voice with a little hum behind it. And for a long time, I was worried that, I wouldn't be able to speak to him normally, that it'd be scary, that I wouldn't be able to, talk to my dad anymore. But then I realized that the amount of time it takes a person to have a thought and then decide they want to hold a device to their neck and actually verbalize that thought really cuts down on the amount of offensive things that people say. I love my dad, but hearing him say fewer things definitely isn't a negative thing for me. And I think in this world we live in, we're often careless. We say things that hurt other people without really thinking about it. And honestly, the cure for this, the cure for political divisiveness, is all of us getting a very serious and rare form of cancer. And that was pretty dark, so I'd like to neutralize the emotion in the room by just stating some facts about the movie Foxcatcher. So one fact about Foxcatcher: director Bennett Miller was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Director that year, but the film was not nominated for Best Picture, which is a rarity. Actor Mark Ruffalo, who was in the film, played a man who was 27 at the time of the events which the film covered, but Mark Ruffalo was well into his 40s at the time of filming. Nothing wrong with that. I thought it was a little weird, though. Foxcatcher grossed a mere $9.1 million on a budget of $25 million, making it a minor box office failure. So those were a few facts about Foxcatcher. And folks, I hate to get political, but we've got to go there. You know what I'm talking about. Of course, I'm talking about South Dakota's lone Congresswoman, Kristi Noem. Now, we've all heard about Kristi Noem this, Kristi Noem that. But of course, what I'm talking about is how Kristi Noem last year announced her bid for the governorship of South Dakota, but she only did it so she could get in under the wire before the Anti-Corruption Act kicked in. Now, we all know what the Anti-Corruption Act is. It stops dark funding from funding, campaigns. It helps campaign transparency. And of course, the voters overwhelmingly supported it. But then the Koch brothers, as we all know, declared a political state of emergency in South Dakota and got the Anti-Corruption Act removed. Those Koch brothers and Kristi Noem. But of course, I'm beating a dead horse here. I know we all think about Kristi Noem all the time. So even though I'm here hosting Saturday Night Live, sometimes I'm worried that I'll never be on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. And one of my favorite things in the world, and I assume it's the same for many of you, are lip sync battles. So since I'm not probably going to be on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, I feel I need to do a lip sync battle for you here tonight. What I don't have are the rights to the song that I want to do the lip sync battle for. But honestly, I think everyone's favorite part of a lip sync battle is the movement of those lips. So to close out my set, I'm going to do a lip sync battle to Can't Feel My Face by The Weeknd. Thank you, I'm Jordan Wold.
Keep it going for the next comedian, AJ Tierney.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'd just like to start off this set by just clarifying I do not have penis envy. It's just my personality. All right, now that that's out of the way, I went to a Catholic middle school in the South, so I'm an atheist. I don't like to call myself that, though, because I feel like people get weird, like now. I prefer agnostic. Agnostic is kind of like the Switzerland of religions. Like, on one hand, I don't really think there's a God. But on the other hand, I do not want her to hear me say that. I think that if there is a God, she's gotta be a woman, right? Because if not, this stand-up set will not pass the Bechdel test. My favorite thing about the concept of Jesus Christ is his savior complex, right? Not a huge fan of the sandals, love the self-sacrifice. I think that if you're gonna have a complex, the savior complex is the best one to have, right? Like, no one needs you to have an Oedipus complex. That helps literally no one. But people need to be saved. So I went to a Catholic middle school in the South, so I didn't get any proper sex education until the 8th grade, which is way too late if you want your kids to be normal, clearly. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's this group that has monopolized the sex education industry in the South, and their name is Just Wait. Laugh, that's hilarious. That's so funny. It's like Nike, just do it, but for sad virgins. I just picture this like elderly Baptist man who presumably started this organization, and he's just like, no. Stop that. Please stop. Just wait. Like he's already given up, you know? Fun fact, he also started a chain of grocery stores called Just Starve. But they were too progressive for my Catholic middle school, so they fired the Just Wait people, and they hired a nun, which is both her profession and the amount of time she's had sex. Those who can't do teach, am I right? So they bring out Sister Mary Frances, and she goes, all right, y'all, raise your hand if y'all like olives. I raised my hand. I'm a big fan of the olive, and I guess I just started daydreaming about olives, as you do. Because the next thing I remember hearing her say was, and that's just like oral sex. Complete tone shift. And to this day, I don't know what's just like oral sex. Like, I'm assuming the olives, but I don't know how she got there. And she doesn't define what oral sex is because she's a nun. So I just assumed it was talking about sex. 8th grade, ladies and gentlemen. And I would go up to my Catholic school peers, because I'm a rebel, and I would say, I am so good at oral sex. Want to have oral sex with me? And then they would respond and leave. And that is the story of how I lost all my friends in middle school. So I have a complicated relationship with sex. It's pretty one-sided. That's a masturbation joke. My friend Sam once said to me, do you ever think that like maybe your dead grandparents could watch you masturbate from heaven? And I hadn't. But now I do way too much. Let's just unpack this together, okay? First off, he's assuming there's an afterlife. Second off, he's assuming his grandparents are in eternal paradise watching him. That is so self-absorbed. They have other grandchildren. Like, I understand that they might want to check in from time to time, but if they check in and he's doing that, don't you think they'd change the channel? Like, is he assuming they watch to completion? Do they take notes? Who knows? We don't know. My grandfather died when I was in 8th grade, so I've come to terms with the fact that he might have seen me come to terms. Thank you. I appreciate it. But the other day I was at a party and I flashed a bunch of people, and then what? Okay. And then the next morning, I found out that my grandmother had died the night before during the party. And my first thought upon hearing of my grandmother's passing was, did she die in time to see that? Was she proud? No, she was not. Cucks. I'm going to talk about cucks now. Cuck comes from the term cuckold, which is a biblical term from Shakespeare and shit. And it means a dude who watches another dude his wife. I think that is the best insult of all time. Modern day insults are so lazy. Think about it. Like, the worst thing you can call someone in today's society is like, what's with all the genitalia hate? We all come from genitals. Some of us in genitals. I would love to be a part of that someday. And like, you know, the is an incredibly vital aspect of the human body. Without an you would have like 1-2 weeks tops, and then you would just drop dead. You would just self-implode on your own feces, all right? So think about that next time you're pissed at Uncle Dan. I recently reclaimed my virginity. Woo! Thank you. Yeah, very good. 1 second. Oh, here it is. This is my V card. For those of you who can't see, it says the official AJ Tierney V card. It is homemade. It is laminated. There's a picture of me on it, and I am wearing a Gryffindor scarf, the universal symbol of both valor and virginity. I recently got this card back from my ex to do this stand-up. That was a fun time. No, we're friends, so it wasn't weird. Other than the fact that he's been holding my homemade laminated V card in his wallet for 2.5 years. But yeah, I don't know. I just think everyone has the same lame, cliche virginity story, right? Like, it was the summer before senior year. Your boyfriend was at a month-long science camp. He wanted to be a nurse. That turned you on. Nurses are the backbone of the medical industry, ladies and gentlemen. Caring is sexy. Just like typical first-time stuff, you know, like you're doing missionary in the back of his, I don't know, Nissan Infiniti. Marvin Gaye is playing. You had an allergic reaction to your wisdom teeth medication, so now you have a full body rash. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. This girl gets it. She does. You're both tall, so you have to open the car doors. Your feet are sticking out. The car lights are on. The pregnant lady next door keeps coming outside to be like, why are the car lights on? Fun fact, she had her baby that night, but we all know that because it happened to all of us. Am I right? You're nervous. It's awkward. 50 minutes into this session, you go, are we doing this right? And then he says, I think I'm gay. And then you hand him your V card and you go home and cry, right? This happened to everyone, right? Cool. So yes, my first boyfriend told me he was gay while inside of me. And I think my response is very telling of me as a person. He said, I think I'm gay, and I said, I know. I knew this entire time. That's why we're naked in the back of your Nissan Infiniti. I was testing you. So I think I'm the hero of this story. Hear me out. Straight women are always going to pride parades and Instagramming #LoveWins. But how many actually go out into the world and recruit for the cause? Change happens one Baptist boy at a time, ladies. So I guess that nun was right. Sex with me is like olives. My ex-boyfriend hated both. I'm AJ Tierney. Thank you, guys.
Let's hear it for your next comedian, Brennan Kellner.
You guys ready to see whatever happens here? Play in the P-Row lobby until we die. It's on loop. Oh my gosh. I'm Brennan. Let's just get this started. Have you guys? That's how it starts. It's at the start. Have you guys ever been talking to somebody and somebody brings something up and you didn't think you had an opinion on it, but then they bring it up and then you go off on it for 10 minutes? Not big things, your political views. You'll never be stunned that you're arguing for the side that you didn't think you were for 10 minutes. But small things, I had it happen with Paul Revere. Someone came up to me and they're like, I'm Paul Revere for Halloween. I was like, heck yeah, an American hero, finally. It's been 10 years since I talked about Paul Revere, but I truly believed everything I said. If you own a cell phone, you should love Paul Revere. Truly, think of Paul Revere got up at midnight and rode across a state on a horse in Massachusetts weather to deliver one sentence. And to prove my point, that night I shot a text to Tulsa, Oklahoma to my buddy that said the British are coming, which didn't garner a response, but he's like, are they now? And then I went dark, they got me. And I should call him, but I have other things going on right now. I think the point really of that is that in the last 10 years, nobody's really had a major problem comparatively. If you think about the cavemen, I woke up today and I had to do this and laundry, and I almost didn't do those things. Cavemen got up every day and had to kill a mammoth to stay alive. Every single day. Every day they grabbed their kids and were like, you're gonna flank him from the left, you're gonna get the sticks, and I'll jump on the horns, and otherwise we're sleeping on the rocks cold and hungry tonight. I've never had a problem in my whole life. That's a huge gaping problem. I think even more recently, you think you'll be in like lectures today, like at orientation, and they'll be like, look to your left, look to your right. No, I like the chuckles already. Look to your left, look to your right. One of you 3 people won't graduate college, or some statistic like that, right? But like back in the Middle Ages, it was look to your left, look to your right. One of you 3 has bubonic plague. And likely now the other 2 do as well, because you've been sitting in a room of bubonic plague, which is crazy, right? Like nobody has ever had a problem. I like, it's my belief, all right? I think I like watching like new stuff come out because people get afraid. People like are like, are we playing God? Like, are we like, is man gotten like too powerful? Like when the iPhone came out, which is ridiculous. Like, just in case you guys forgot, God's the guy who created the earth in 6 days, everything. And we were like, is the iPhone too close to his power? And like, but like you watch that thing come out and like instantly like people are like, I hate this, Angry Birds? like just scrolled on and we lost everybody. Like, and I think like the next thing that like everybody keeps talking about that I keep hearing about, sorry mom, is sex robots. And I think like everybody's like, that's gonna take away like what's it called when 2 people like each other? Love. That's the word. Companionship, that's the big one. That's the one I was thinking of. That's on camera forever, me. No, but I think like it's one of those things again where like if it came out, like if you had a lonely Thursday night and you like were like, I'm gonna go hang out with Dave, and you went over to Dave's house and it, like you knocked on the door and the robot answered and you're like, oh hey, sorry, I was looking for Dave, and she's like, oh hey, Dave's not home, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't bother you, I just had a long day at work, and you're like, no, tell me about it, come sit down. And like, take off your jacket, come take a load off, I want to hear about your long day. Like, you wouldn't sleep with that robot? Come on. I would marry that robot. No, I think like people will come to embrace it. And this is the part where I check my notes unless I can pull it out of the bag. Nope, I can't. Yep. I think I love like the generation gap. Like I love like my mom was big into movies and she would always show me like all of her childhood movies, like Labyrinth with like David Bowie. And then me and my other 2 siblings would methodically pick it apart and why it's terrible. Because every time we didn't realize how much my mom liked that movie. And then she would be like, yeah, no, it's cool, it's fine. I guess Labyrinth isn't like how I remember. And then she'd just go like chop onions. So she like every single time. But I've already started like doing that with like our stuff. Like our stuff is already starting to expire. Like it's already starting to get like campy. Like think about it this way. There was a guy who like his whole shtick was like, hey guys, it's PewDiePie. 57 million people clicked a button that said, I want more information about that man. Every project he makes, send me an email about it. He's a creative genius. But you have like musicians showing up to like award shows now, like wearing food, and there are like whole countries without food. It's like what do we like? Everything we do is like so dumb, and it's already starting to fall apart. And I love like that generation divide. I love adult advice. No, I think adult advice is so funny because like a lot of times we like chalk advice off as being like a cliche. Like we're like, oh, that's so cliche. Like you like do unto others as you would want done unto yourself. Like who's writing that? And like cliche shouldn't be like this like insult thing. Like cliche means that a lot of people say it because it's really good advice. Like it's circulated, it's made the rounds, we all like it, and we're telling you all this, and you're like, I don't want to do what everybody else does that works. You're like, there's got to be another way of being an like there's a way around, and there is. One of you will find it. No, but I think like it's so funny how people are like, no, yeah, 7 billion people are like leading me on to think this is like good advice. Like it's an email thread. Like people are like, everybody write down things that sound good but don't work that we can tell my son so that he fails when he's older. I think one of the things that isn't so good is Boy Scouts for kids. Yeah, yeah. Any Boy Scoutmasters here that want to fight me right now? No. I think it's funny because like their merit badges are supposed to prepare you for adulthood, but they're like totem chips, like whittling chips. Like not once will you be filing your taxes and you're like, oh, where'd I put my whittling chip? Like you're like, it asked if I can whittle a stick into like a sharper stick. It's not a great system, but I wouldn't have brought up the Boy Scouts because they aren't that funny, from my personal experience. Unless I had a story, and that this loosely correlates. My mom ran the Girl Scouts where I'm from, which is Colorado. Shout out. Heck yeah. Oh yeah, you are from. Colorado. Shout out. Yeah, is that how editing works? Yeah, you can just. So the summer camp for Girl Scouts got canceled that year because of forest fires, and my mom was really disappointed, and she's like, I just want to give these girls a crazy great experience. And so she set up summer camp in our backyard, and I was like, oh, cool, that's super nice of you. And then she went out and got like super dangerous stuff because she had never been to a summer camp. And she came home with a bow and arrow, like a real, like we live in like suburbia, and she's like, we're gonna shoot this in the backyard. And I was like, we're gonna get the cops called on us. I was like, we're already pushing it being black in suburbia. I was like, Mom, you can't get the bow and arrow too. It's one or the other. But she had me and my Boy Scout friends teach them how to shoot the bow and arrow, and it went really well. That was the part that didn't go horribly wrong. What went horribly wrong is the hubris that comes from something not going horribly wrong that should. And afterwards, my friend left, and he was like, I can't believe you're scared of like something going wrong with this dinky bow and arrow. And he Katniss, whoosh, knocks an arrow and just pulls it back as far as he can. He's like, this won't even go that far. We're plugging the equation as he lets go. And we all realize what's about to happen, and he's shooting it towards other backyards that are pretty far away. I'll give him credit. I wouldn't have thought until he found a way to pull it back that far. And he lets it go, and there's a good moment that's probably the closest thing I'll get to Stranger Things, which is four teenage boys watching an arrow shoot into the skyline, wondering if they will become felons because as dinky as the bow was, the arrows were real. If it hit somebody, we killed somebody. It was that simple. And we all just sort of stood and held hands while it was in air and braced for we're it could be a dog, could be a cat, and it was in the air for 10 seconds, but we had all of these mortal flashbacks. And I considered ending this set by telling you that we killed someone. But I didn't kill anybody at all. And like I said, I don't have any problems. I didn't kill anybody. Thank you guys. I'm Brennan Kellner.
Last but not least, let's bring it home with Gus V.
Hey, how's it going, team? Wow, you guys look like ants down there. It's like I'm in a plane. This is awesome. Hi, my name's Gus, short for Augustus, long for G. And just a couple things you need to know for us to have fun tonight. I'm not going to try to get all political on you guys. No one wants that. However, I do have two opinions that are very central to my being that I want to get off my chest. The first is I do not believe in universal health care. I think we should cap it at terrestrial. The second is I think you should choose between owning a pickup truck and having the right to vote. No, I'm not a political person, but I do like yelling in public, so this year has been great for me. I've been to a lot of marches. It's been a lot of fun. I actually went to the Women's March last January, maybe, and that was great. I left early, not because I was against the cause, but because children's choir started singing "God Bless America," and if you've ever seen a movie trailer, that's when helicopters start falling poignantly from the sky. So I was White House down and out of there. But yeah, that's it. That's all you need to know. I'm glad you guys could be here on my favorite holiday, Fall Back. That's tomorrow. We get an extra hour in which all crime is legal. So I feel like a little boy on Christmas. No, I'm glad you guys all made it out here tonight, because I almost didn't. I was elsewhere, then decided to be here. But I have trouble taking the subway. One time I actually got mugged on it, which wasn't that bad in and of itself. What was rough, though, was he missed his stop, which became a pretty rough 3 minutes for the two of us. He tried to make small talk. It wasn't catching. I can't imagine why. So he started rifling through my wallet. He was like, "Man, you don't carry much." And I was like, "Well, no, I didn't know I'd have to impress anybody tonight. If I knew there was an audience present, I'd have stopped at the bank. My gosh." No, I have a complicated relationship with transportation. I recently got my permit to kill, which is a lot like having a license to kill, except I can't do it between 12 and 5 a.m., and I gotta do it in the presence of a licensed adult. I'm a lot like 00400. The Queen will not be calling on me, for many reasons, but that's chief among them. No, I am actually learning how to drive. My dad's been helping me. He's great. Well, he's here, so he's fine. But I was having some trouble parallel parking, as one is wont to do. And I hit a car, I hit the curb, I went on the curb, and finally he regains his composure and says, "Okay, just think of it like docking a boat." And I was like, "All right, can we stick to one surface for now? I'm barely allowed in water. I don't know why you think I can dock a boat but not a car." Yeah, no, it's been a whole process. I was walking with my friend the other day, and we were downtown crossing, so we passed a homeless man, and he asked for some money, so I gave him $1. My friend was like, "Hey, why'd you do that? He's just gonna spend that money on drugs." And I was like, "Dude, that's all we're gonna do with it." I kind of need you to get off your high horse about this. No, that was wild times in downtown crossing. I think most people view themselves as the protagonist of their own life. I tend more to view myself as the antagonist of Rob Lowe's life. He'll understand. I had a girlfriend. I don't have a joke about it. I just wanted you guys to know. In a similar vein, I once did 9 push-ups and a cartwheel, not on the same day. And if you don't think I tweeted about those push-ups, you are mistaken. No, I really do care a lot about the opinions of strangers, pretty much. So buying condoms is a weird experience for me. Because on one hand, I'm very happy the guy at CVS knows I'm having sex later. On the other hand, I'm really unhappy he knows I'm having lame sex later. But I found a solution to this problem. Now I run into CVS and yell, "I'm having sex later!" And on the bright side, a bunch of cops now know I'm having sex later. I went on a date one time, and I did badly. But after it, she texted me. She was like, "Hey, why didn't you make a move? I would totally had sex with you. And not even like pity sex, like real sex." And I was like, "Thanks." I'm glad you find me attractive, but why do you feel like you have to qualify it? And I mean, come on. You've seen me for like 6 minutes. You know I'm no stranger to pity sex. But like, sort of the deal is you don't talk about it, right? It's like grit your teeth and get through this, and you'll both end up a little bit happier. But no, really put that horse on the table is an expression I'm coining right now. You owe me 5 cents if you ever say, put that horse on the table. I'm just gonna say it one more time so it's in your head, put the horse on the table. I think it's really optimistic to wear a helmet skydiving. Oh man, did you hear about Cam the other day? Fell out of a plane. Was he okay? Yeah, he was wearing a helmet. Landed right on his head, not a scratch. We're actually getting dinner later. No, you would die. It would kill you. Many a good man has gone out like that. I was camping the other day with some of my friends, and it was pretty creepy. I was getting a real Friday the 13th vibe out of it. And we were all like telling scary stories, getting more and more scared. And finally, like, we considered leaving. And I was like, wait, I have a better idea. We have an axe. I know where the nearest campsite is. What are the odds there's 2 groups of murderers in this woods? Actually, interestingly, my 9th grade math teacher is in the house tonight, and I think I heard him crying when I said that joke. He's right up there. Good man. I've actually never used math in the real world, so I guess he lied. No, on the theme of disappointing relatives and mentors, I feel like a lot of people who do stand-up comedy do run the risk of disappointing their families, but my father is actually a stand-up comic himself, which sounds cool, but then he pretends to drown at a water park for a bit, and you realize it's really not all it's chalked up to be. But it was hard because he couldn't be disappointed by the normal stuff, so I had to get weird with it. Like, can you imagine coming home at 3 a.m, reeking of alcohol, and your dad asks you where you are, and you're like, out filing tax returns, fat ass. Do something about it. Yeah. No, it's hard being a white straight man in America, especially because when I was little, I wanted to be a black gay man in Russia. Yeah, you thought that joke would be topical. It was just silly. Sorry to let you down, folks. College has been strange to me. This college in particular. I do go to Emerson. I'm pre-med. It's a bad program. They teach us to be the 5th doctor, and 4 out of 5 doctors recommend. But I've learned some cool shit. I have a new favorite drinking game. It's the drinking game. Every time you take a shot, you take a shot. Try it sometimes. It works great. No, I was at a party the other night, and this guy came up to me, and he said, you know what I really like to do, man? I'm like, what, man? He's like, I really like to write essays in my head, but I never like to write them down on paper. I just like to keep them up there. And I said, my friend, I believe you call that thinking. I do not think you've stumbled on a new medium. I think you've just been existing. Yeah, college is funny. I have classes in this building, actually, and I had a professor I don't like, and I went to the bathroom during his class, like in the middle mark, and he came in after me, which was great because I forced him to use the small urinal. God, what a power rush. Oh, man. The double-edged sword of that power rush, though, is it's really hard to pee through a massive erection. He did get the last laugh, though. The next day in class, we were like quietly taking a test, and he called me up to the front of the room, and he killed my dog in front of everyone. So I guess I will not be peeing anymore. College also got me into a great new genre of music, NK-pop, which is K-pop from North Korea. I've never actually heard it, but Dennis Rodman loves it. And it's all actually written by one guy, which is pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. Well, there's really nothing worse than a disappointing ending.
Let's hear it one more time for our amazing comedians. That's our show. Thank you and good night.